Well, good morning, YouTube. I'm out in the garage today, just doing the final preparations on my Tenere 700 before I go out and do an do its first adventure ride in Nevada. And I just wanted to share with you some of the things I've done. My goal to this build was to keep it simple, to keep the bike as light as possible, and only modify those things that I thought needed modifying. Well, I've got the seat off the bike, so I thought I would start here. The first thing I did is I've been watching a lot of Mad TV, and they're all things Tenere series. And one of the things that they recommended for off-road use is this Uni pre-filter. This is something that Uni came up with. This is a pre-filter, I believe, off an automotive part, but it works perfectly for the Tenere. I bought this pre-filter from Andy Straps with a Z out of Australia. And I bought a couple of them, and it was pretty reasonably priced. I think they were about $30 US each. So I'm going to see how that does. I do plan on getting this thing dirty, and the last thing I want to do is destroy the paper filter. The other thing I've done is I wired in my Garmin GPS to the battery, and what I did is I got a power outlet down here to operate my pump, and then if I need any other auxiliary power there. And what I did is I used the washers from that power outlet to connect my Garmin directly to the battery, and I just soldered them directly. The other thing I did is I put a concept seat on it, and it's been a huge improvement. I'll show it in here in a minute installed. One thing I wanted to note is I noticed that there's these two rubber mounts that they put here to sit on the frame. And when I took the seat off today, they were both sitting inside the compartment. I was like, what are those? I'll show you which ones they are here. These are the rubber mounts that were inside the compartment. So these are popping off when I install the seat, which is kind of a disappointment because, you know, you would not like to have to deal with that. The seat is a single seat. As you can see, it's got the key operation here, and then these two latches here actually go... I believe they go underneath here on the frame. So I'm going to put it on now, and then I will start filming again so you can see the seat. That took me a few minutes to get the seat on. It's kind of a pain in the butt because there's so many points you have to grab. There's a small tab up here. There's a big tab down here. There's those buttons that are underneath here, which it looks like to me, I looked with when I put it on, that they stayed on this time. Then you got to slide those two hooks down in here and then get this to latch. But the hard thing is, to get those hooks down, you have to make sure that you're at least started in these 2 points before you slip those hooks in. So you kind of have to work with both and kind of get it halfway in, get the hooks down, and then push it down and clip it. But what I will say on this seat is it's a huge improvement over the stock seat. Gosh, this seat is pretty awesome. It was not inexpensive. It was over $400 US, but I think it was well worth it. And I am happy now that I have a seat that I can remove with just a key, and that I don't need a tool to get the front part off to get access to the battery and the filter. All right, the next thing I'm going to talk about is my luggage racks. I did a ton of research on these, and I chose racks for a few reasons. One, a lot of people have been reporting that the ABS plastics break quite easily when you just put soft luggage on them directly, and I did not want that to happen. The other reason why I went with a rack system instead of maybe something like the Adventure spec was to protect the muffler. Okay, before I get to the rack and how it protects the muffler, I do want to talk about my luggage setup. I chose to go with Giant Loop, and I chose for a few reasons. One, I was able to get a 20% off sale on my luggage, which saved me a couple $100s. And two, I wanted something simple. The racks that I bought from Australia, and I bought these from Greg Yeager from Ride ADV, and they're pretty awesome. They've really sorted these out. One of the reasons why I chose these over other ones is their simplicity. They had no need to use a back bar across the bike, which I really like. They do, as you can see, when they're filled up, they're going to help provide protection for the exhaust can, which I'm appreciative of. And they also keep your center of gravity down low and to the front of the bike. Now, as far as the giant loop panniers, these are the Motech. I went with these because they're the least expensive. They're 25 liters each, so they're pretty substantial. But they'll also limit me what I bring. And that's kind of the thing. I'm trying to keep the weight down on this bike because I do want to take it off-road. And I feel like the more luggage space I have, the more crap I'm probably going to take. I also bought a giant loop Diablo tank bag. I chose this over the Fandango because of the profile. I feel like this is high enough. I don't want to have this bag hanging over to where I can't see the instrumentation and kind of getting in my way as I'm riding. I've ridden with it standing up, and it's pretty nice. What I like about the giant loop too is that they designed this bag so that it doesn't interfere with the gas cap. And that's a pretty big deal because there's been a lot of reports of tank bags kind of pinching on these and actually getting to where the gas caps will leak, and especially on a tip over. And so Giant Loops created a kind of a cavity here, as you can see, so that when it's on the bike, it actually doesn't interfere with the gas cap, which is kind of nice. One thing I'd like to point out also is that everything that you see bolted on this bike, I paid with my own money. I don't have any sponsors, no affiliates, and so everything that you're seeing on this bike it was based on my own research and what I thought would be the best choices for this bike for touring and off-road use. So I chose the Outback Motech crash bars for this bike because they offer the most protection for this bike in a crash or in a drop, in a lay down. And I had mixed feelings. I liked the Yamaha bars because of their simplicity and their lightness. However, I didn't feel they would help me be able to carry luggage down on the front of the bike as well. And I really, really wanted to do this. And the reason I wanted to do this is I'm trying to keep this motorcycle's center of gravity as low as possible. I don't want weight up high. I already feel like it carries more weight up high than I like. It's one of my biggest concerns of the Tenere, actually. So I went with these bars so I could put my tools and heavy things that can take a hit on the front of the bike and keep it down low. So this way I have my weight evenly distributed between the back and the front. So that's why I went with them. While I'm still talking about the Outback Motech crash bars, I got to say I was disappointed in the fitment. They were hard to install. You had to be very careful with chasing this flange and this flange because they weren't perfectly aligned, and so I had to be very gingerly with it and really make sure I didn't cross thread any of the bolts while installing it. But it was a pain, and I would say that it's probably not a good crash bar for somebody that doesn't have a high level of mechanical ability because these things, I've been working with my hands my entire life professionally, and these bars definitely put up a fight. So I went with the Giant Loop Possibilities pouches in the front, primarily because they're simple. These carry about 4 liters, which I think is plenty, and they fit the crash bars quite well. The other thing about Giant Loop is it's all waterproof, and it's super lightweight. There's no frill with this stuff. It's strap on and go. And that's one of the reasons I chose not to mention the value. These are much cheaper than the competitors, which I did look at closely, but at the end I decided to go with these. Okay, we'll just go around the bike now and talk about the things I did do and the things I didn't do. So I haven't done a tail tidy on this bike. A couple of reasons. This tail works pretty good. And, I've been looking into choices for signals to replace, but honestly, they They don't really bother me. They're bright, they're cheap, and they're rugged, and they'll keep me safe. I did get the Yamaha aftermarket chain guide. I think this is important for off-road riding. This just protects the chain from being thrown off the sprocket. And pretty inexpensive and really easy to install. Down here I have the SW-Motech center stand. I chose this one over the OEM Yamaha because it got pretty good reviews. It was less expensive. And the spring design, which I'll show you in a bit here, is really good. I went ahead and bought some adventure pegs. These are the Fastway adventure pegs. And I just got to say, these things are awesome. I'm really looking forward to riding off-road with these. They're like standing on an aircraft carrier. They're awesome. The other thing is they're built very, very well. They're CNC machined. The aluminum's high grade. I did have the Camel ADV big bites on this bike, and I was disappointed with them. For a couple things, the aluminum, I don't believe would hold up under rigorous conditions. And two, they changed their cleat design, and it's a very sharp pinhole type cleat now, which will damage my motorcycle boots, and boots aren't cheap. So I was really disappointed with those. I pulled those actually off this bike. While I'm down here too, you can see I have the triple clamp moto case cover just to help me with tip overs. I have the AXP Euro 5 skid plate, and I gotta tell you, I've had 4 AXP skid plates, and I love AXP. However, this one didn't match up as well as I thought it should with the Tenere 700. Now, it could be that the Tenere 700 has 2 frame stays that are not welded to the frame. They're kind of a sacrificial piece that just kind of cradles the motor, I guess, just to hold the skid plate. And I don't know, it was really hard to install. I ended up having to do a lot of modifications on the plastic of this skid plate to alter the drill angles to be able to get bolts to install without cross-threading the frame. So that was a disappointment. Other than that, I think it is the best skid plate on the market for the money. Plastic's quiet. I beat the crud out of my other skid plates and have been very happy with them. This offers the most protection of any skid plate I've seen on the market, so I'm pretty impressed with that. You can see that I bought the Yamaha accessories radiator guard, mainly because I thought it looked kind of cool, especially with the black bike, kind of pops a little bit. Do I think it's worth the money? I'm not exactly sure. Time will tell on that. On the front here, it's pretty simple. I did buy the Camel ADV fork protectors to protect this bolt and this plastic. They're pretty inexpensive. They went on very well. Those I'm pretty happy with. So now we're at the front of the bike, and the first thing I bought was the Yamaha headlight protector. And I'll tell you, I could not get this in the United States. I had to buy this from the UK. Not sure what the deal is there. I also, speaking of the UK, I bought the Rally Raid Garmin mount or GPS mount. That is a very high quality part there. I bought the Puig deflector. I really like it. Makes the bike just that much nicer on the highway, and I haven't seen any reason why it will get in the way off-road yet. I also put on the Tenere 700 specific bark busters. These bark guards are awesome. They went on flawlessly. They come with the proper bar ends for this bike, and they fit like a dream. I'm really impressed with the bark busters. While I'm here also, I put a I think it's a Keiko throttle lock for having just a manual cruise control. You know, it works pretty good. I think I need to adjust the tension on it just a bit to keep it set. It does do what they advertise. However, it's not a cruise control. It's more of a throttle lock, and I think it's probably most useful on long, flat areas where you're not having to change speed a lot. I got rid of the stock Yamaha grips. These are just Pro Taper pillow. I think they're called pillow tops. They're nice. They're comfortable. They were easy. Just wanted to experiment with that. Got the double take mirrors. They're pretty awesome. They're very stout. I did need to get a reverse thread adapter for this side because this is a left-handed thread on the right side of the bike. Also bought the Rally Raid upper clamp setup so that if I wanted to mount a GPS here, I could. To be honest with you, I'm not sure I really needed this part, but it does look kind of trick. It probably adds some weight. So anyway, that's that. This is just an inexpensive ram mount ball. I got these on. You can get these on Amazon. These things are awesome. I have these quite a bit of my motorcycles, and they're very useful. And up here, I do have the Garmin GPS, and the Garmin's pretty awesome. A couple other things I wanted to say about the Ride ADV racks is they have welded these rings on the side of the rack, and the Outback Motortrek panniers fit those perfectly. That's one of the reasons why I bought the Outback Motortrek panniers in addition to the price. And this is also set up to where if I wanted to mount a Rotopacks on here, I can do it. Not sure what I want to do with fuel yet. I am concerned about that. I'm still trying to figure out if this is the bike for me, and so I'm kind of being hesitant to go too crazy with modifications. So, you know, I think this next trip's going to really help me figure some things out. I just wanted to show how close these pannier racks get to the motorcycle. I think they're about as close as you can get without starting to get into trouble. As you can see, there's clearance on the pipe there. And I think they're going to do a good job of protecting the pipe. I do think I probably want to put on a tailpipe eventually, muffler. I think I'm probably going to go with the Wings or maybe the Acro. The Wings is really well priced and it's a smaller profile. And I believe the Wings will work with the Camel ADV bracket if I decide to go high. I just want to see how... I mean, we all know that the Achilles heel of this bike is the exhaust bracket. So that's one of the reasons why I went with the racks. And so I'm hoping that with racks and the bags on, that I won't run into any issues. I also bought from T7 Rally their swing arm protector. This was a really nice piece. I would really recommend this piece. It went on, just like they said, they have a video online, and I was really impressed with the installation of this. So this way, if you can see, the can will rub against that instead of my swing arm, which has been a big issue with the Teneres. I also bought a SW-Motech brake protector here. I don't consider this Bleem. I think this could actually help on a tip over. Here is the mechanism for the SW-Motech center stand. It actually tighten. What is nice is you can loosen this bolt, and then the spring will be released from tension. And then you can just tension it with this. So I really like that. It made it easy to install. I was really impressed with how the SW-Motech center stand installed on this bike. I put on the triple clamp Moto case protector on this side. I did not do the water pump protector. The AXP, I think, does a pretty darn good job of doing that. Also, the bolts on these are, I don't know. I feel like the way they were Loctited and stuff, I didn't want to worry about leaking. You know, by pulling them out and putting them back in and causing a leak there. So I didn't do that. I have the Camel ADV one-finger clutch. It does definitely reduce the amount of pull on the clutch. I'm still testing it. I like it on the second setting. However, I'm not able to run the clutch with one finger. I tend to like to ride the clutch like my dirt bike and my trials bike, where I'm having my fingers on the grip and I can deactivate the clutch like this. And in this setting, I cannot do that. So I'm going to go to the first hole. So I'm going to go to the first hole here, and I'm hoping that it'll give me the ability to operate the clutch with one finger and not have to remove my hand from the grip every time. Last things on the AXP, they did tell, it did say that it was compatible with the Outback Motortrek crash bars. However, I did have to modify the skid plate here and cut this out with a jigsaw to make it work on this bar. The other thing is, actually the Outback Motortrek crash bars didn't fit very well with the Euro 5 catalytic converter protective cover, so I was kind of bummed out about that. Kind of thought that could have been a little bit better, so I would have had to bend that if I wanted to keep it on there, but because I put the AXP on, I didn't need that cover anymore, so I didn't do that. Another thing I like about the Fastway pegs is I was actually able to put these are adjustable. You can mount them in the standard position, or you can mount them back and low about 10 millimeters. And what that did is that helped my foot to brake position, so now the brake is not so spongy because my foot's actually lower, and my foot's a little bit further back, so I have a little bit more room at the controls. So I'm really happy with the distance that this has created, so I can get underneath here and shift better with my dirt bike boots. So that's been very nice. The other thing I like about these is you can adjust the camber on them, and so I'm able to get these actually kind of up and in, so it's more of a dirt bike stance and not so much like a street bike. All right, well, I think that sums up where I'm at right now on the T7 setup. Now I'm just going to work on where I'm going to go, what I'm going to pack, and just see what I think about the Tenere off-road. Oh, one last thing I would like to say is I'm still running the stock tires on this bike. Right now I'm thinking about going with a Motaz tire, either the RAL Z or the Adventure. I think it's the Tractionator Adventure. I do want a tire that's going to be able to handle off-road quite well. I am curious to see how these stock Pirelli Scorpion STRs are going to do. So it's going to that's definitely going to be an adventure. So anyways, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I hope that it's been informative. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below, and hope you guys are having a great day, and stay safe and try to get out there and do some adventure.